Good morning. How are you? Are you ready for another exciting year of panning some more eyeshadows out of our collections? I know that I am. 2020 is going to be a big year in so many ways. I can just feel it. And so, as far as introductions go, I'm not going with a stock palette like I have in the past. I'm going with more of a theme, and so this year is all about back to MAC. Yes, we're going there. I have a bunch of MAC palettes we're going to talk about in just a minute, and my goal this year is I want to see how many MAC shadows I can finish. I think it'd be kind of fun, and also it's a creative way to kind of breathe new life into some older shadows, and I hope that you will decide to jump in on this with me and have some fun with some MAC shadows out of your collection, because it's kind of nice to go back old school and revisit things, but also too to kind of rekindle just a passion for creativity and going back. And if you're the type of person that loves to work with singles, this is a great way to go back into your collection. Or if you're the type of person you prefer to work with a palette, this can fit your needs as well. So let me show you what I'm going to be working with. Because in terms of how I'm going to structure the Pan That Palette updates, I'm going to call it the Back to MAC Pan That Palette. And then every month I'm going to update you on the shadows that I'm working with. I'm still going to be panning looks. And so I'll, have videos routinely of things that have been working for me, like this look with the warm red eyeshadow look. It's inspired by a look that I created when I panned the Vita Loca Remix palette a couple years ago. I fell in love with the shade Rewind. This is the recreation of it with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette. I have that Get Ready With Me coming if you want some inspiration with that palette, and I also have a way to recreate it with MAC shadows. So I'm going to be wearing a lot of warm eyeshadow for the next couple of months, because the other thing that really kind of inspired me with it is the color of the year for 2020 is kind of a calming blue. And I love to pair blue eyeshadow with really red, smoky, warm toned eyes. And so I thought that would be a brilliant way for me to go on and keep ahead of the fashion trend for 2020, but still move out some old eyeshadow. You know what I mean? So in terms of what I'm working with, the two, actually I have 3 stock palettes in terms of what I'm going to be working with from MAC. The first one that I'm really going to be kind of focusing on, because it'd be kind of nice to have a little bit of a gimme in terms of finishing off some MAC shadow, because they do take a long time. But it is the MAC Semi-Sweet palette. I really adore this, and the shade that I'm going to be going into immediately is going to be this Matte Espresso Brown. In the bottom row. I love using this in my brows. I use it as a liner, and I'm also going through and using it in my outer corner. And I've fallen in love with the shade All Star from my Subculture palette, and so this maroon shade over here, it's called Everyone's Darling. It's a matte, kind of a berry tone. It's literally the exact dupe for All Star. It's not quite as pigmented as All Star, and I'm wondering if it's because it's an older shadow. But I thought it would be a good way to kind of mix in. Let me show you just real quick. So we have All Star from the Single Ladies and My Man matte update. I'll go on and put up in the cards. And then we've got it's All Star's a little bit more red of what it's coming across on camera, but in person they look literally the same. So interchangeable for sure. And then I have another backup from MAC that's called I'm Into It, that literally the same shade. So it's gonna be a lot of red eyeshadow for me, for sure. So we've got the Semi-Sweet ×9 palette, and then I've got 2 options because I'm not really sure. Blue shadows, you can go either way. You can go really warm toned with palette themes and whatnot, and you can also go really cool toned. So I have 2 options of things that I can pick for really cool toned looks, if that's going to be what 2020 brings us in terms of fashion. I have the In the Flesh palette. This is definitely more grays and taupes and black and like peaches and things like that, and so I figured this will leave me prepared if we see more of a cool trended vibe in terms of what's on the market for eyeshadow palettes and blush colors and bronzers and things like that. If things continue to stay on the warm trend like they have been for the last while, I've got the MAC Warm Neutrals palette. And this will be an easy segue, because I figure when I finish the Matte Espresso Brown out of the Semi-Sweet palette, I can move into the Espresso Brown up here. I'm working on a peach shade, and so I figure when I'm done with that peach shade from MAC, I can move into this palette as well and go with this one, or, you know, kind of take things more gold. I could definitely reach in here for highlighting shades and whatnot. So MAC Warm Neutrals, we'll see if I can hit pan or finish off any of these by the end of the year. I've also got my, wow, you would think that these are more magnetic than they are, but I also have my MAC palette of shades that I've put together myself. And really, I'm going to be very honest, this is probably where I'm going to focus the majority of my time in terms of trying to finish shadows, because I do have some eyeshadow single packets. As I finish them, I could back to MAC them at the end of the year and really kind of clear out some storage, but also too, these are my older shadows, to be very, very honest. And so I have a smattering of things. I did pick up a blue shadow recently called In the Shadows because I wanted something really bright and fun for my lower lash line. And again, to kind of work with the color of the year, I thought that that would be a fun way to just really move out some blue liners in my collection, but also to give me something a little bit new and fun before tackling this massive project. And so we'll talk about the shadows that I'm going to be working with out of here in just a moment. And then the last little palette that I have to work with is I have what's left of this Mariah Carey quad, and I'm That Chick You Like. I worked on this several years ago with Project Pan. There was a matte espresso brown that I finished. It was my very first MAC shadow that I ever finished, which kind of inspired this whole theme for this year. I wanted to see how much more I could do if I gave it a year of really focusing in. But I have hit pan in this kind of bronzy shade, and then in this kind of it's a light gold, kind of a soft white gold. I thought that would be fun as we get more into the year, again with warm shadows, or I could pair this with cooler tones if I wanted to. And then I'd like to see if I could hit pan in this kind of, it has a little bit of a sheen to it, so it's not my favorite, because if it were just a straight warm brown, I think it'd be easy, but I thought that might be kind of fun. Actually, I might be able to use that in my crease and just go on and move out this packaging, so we'll see. But that's kind of where I am, so you can see what I'm working with. And then I have this little 6-pan palette that I'm going to move shadows in, because I have to admit it is kind of nice to just kind of condense some of the makeup in my makeup bag this go around. And so the shades that I'm going to be working with immediately, let me walk you through. I've already talked about using the matte espresso brown down here. I'm also still working with All Star out of my Subculture palette because I really love that shade. But I also go through with this shade occasionally to just run into my crease, and I'll have it Get Ready With Me where I show you how I use that. And then I also have another shade from my MAC palette called I'm Into It. Literally the same thing. Let me show you. Here is I'm Into It, and these are all shades that you can pick up at the moment if there's something that you wanted a backup of, or it actually matches my shirt, but let me show you. This I'm Into It, literally the same thing. So I have 3 pans of the same eyeshadows. So like I said, you see my problem here of why I want to pan when I'm panning, because I've got a lot of dupes going on here. So we're gonna run with it and just start the process. So the first shade I'm putting in is I'm Into It. I'm gonna work out of those 3 burgundy shades. Let's see what I hit pan in first. I'm also picking out, I like to have a corally shade in my crease just to kind of warm everything up and give a little bit of dimension to the look. As you can see, that little hint of orange. So I'm picking out MAC's Coral. That's gonna be a shade I try to hit pan on rather quickly. The shade that I have going on my lid today, I wanted to kind of go on and get after this one because I've already hit pan in it from working on it in Project Pans in the past. But this shade is called Gleam from MAC. I want to say, no, Gold, I'll have to look this up. Gold Bits, maybe? Not Gleam. It starts with a G. I accidentally tore off the rest of the label, which sucks. But this is what it looks like. And then here is a swatch. It's a really pretty gold, and I'm putting it on top of a matte peach base from the Maybelline Color Tattoos to really kind of amp up that peachiness, because like I talked about when I fell in love with the, it's Gold Bit. It's Gold Bit. When I fell in love with the Kat Von D look, I was using a peach shade all over the lid. And then I would go through with a soft brown, kind of a transition shade in my crease, and then I would go through with the rewind shade and then the orange color in my crease, and then I would go through with the matte espresso brown from that palette. Loved it. Speaking of transition shades, I'm pulling something easy. Really, really easy that I know I can hit pan on, and it is the MAC Soft Brown. That's a really easy go-to. Don't have to muss and fuss and think about that one a lot. Also, like I said, I really wanted an intense blue to kind of start off with, and this is going to be the blue that I think I'm going to incorporate for the majority of the year. I'm going to try to use blue in most of my looks for as long as I can to really kind of keep that color of the year going, because now that it's been established, that's going to be what we're seeing in terms of fashion trends with clothing and makeup. Pops of blue definitely is not going anywhere in terms of eyeshadow palettes, and you know, those are easy colors for me to wear. Like if I wear this warm red look with the blue, it works with navy, teal, forest green, purple, you name it, for like winter tones. And then as we go into spring and summer, I can definitely jazz this up and do kind of more tropical themed makeup. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then also too, I'm thinking highlighting shade, I don't know. I may just work out of this palette again, because I can go through with this cream shade in the corner and the espresso brown, and then work with that maroon shade. So this is going to be what I'm starting off with in terms of Back to MAC. Pan that palette. I'm really, really stoked to see. I don't expect to hit pan by February, but it would be nice to start creating some dips. And like I said, I still have some get ready with me's that I owe you for the Subculture palette. I will show you how I would translate those looks in with MAC shadows, because that's going to be kind of, like I said, that's my theme for this year. We're going to go through with what I have in terms of eyeshadow and see how much I can pan out of the way. So I hope that you will decide to join me if you have some MAC shadows in your collection. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what we can accomplish together. I wish you all the best. And until next time, take care, and I look forward to seeing you very, very soon. So, adios.